So the mystery at the heart of consciousness is why in this universe that seems to be teeming with non-conscious matter, with atoms and electrons and stars and solar systems and all these things that we assume don't entail a felt experience from the inside, they're non-conscious, how non-conscious matter somehow gets configured in such a way as to create a situation where suddenly it's having a felt experience from the inside. So suddenly there's something that it's like to be that matter. And that is often referred to as the hard problem of consciousness. I guess that the question for me is, and this is the question that I was left with when I finished writing my book, is it possible that consciousness is a much more basic phenomenon in nature and is essentially pervading everything, so is much more like gravity. And so not that it's less special than we assumed, because gravity is something that's obviously very special in our universe, but it affects everything. And the question that I'm still very interested in, and think I'll probably always be interested in, is does consciousness go deeper in nature than the sciences have previously assumed? So rather than arising out of complex processing in brains, namely, is it possible that it's a much more basic property of the universe? And so there are felt experiences arising in more systems and organisms than we previously realized.
Have assumed that consciousness somehow is entailed in the experience of having a brain, that it's very possible that there are all kinds of conscious experiences happening all over the place, and there'd be no way for us to know. There are a lot of truths that can be found just in investigating your internal experience. When I first learned how to meditate, it really struck me as a scientific tool. The first time I had the experience was when I was doing walking meditation, that it just suddenly became very clear to me that there was no me doing the walking. I don't know how to say it any clearer than that. The punchline of all of that is that most psychological suffering comes out of or is related to an experience of feeling separate. This realization, it shows you about the truth of reality, is the intertwined nature of things. But it also just naturally leads me to this question of, is there something that is playing out with some kind of purpose or intent?